Well, hello again. Today is day 2 of the 12 days of keto, and I'm excited to be here with you. And this is 12 days of keto, where the New Year's resolution meets the keto revolution. New Year resolution meets the keto revolution. And it's so exciting to see all of the amazing benefits of the ketogenic diet, the research, the results, the rewards of a proper ketogenic diet. And that's what we're going to share with you today. And again, I want to mention that there's a lot of research out there. But before we start, I want to give a disclaimer. Now, the research on the ketogenic diet, we're going to talk about healthy body functions. Yes, there's a lot of research on diseases, but understand that anything that works on the disease, the FDA defines as a drug. So we're not going to focus on disease. And this is not about a specific company's products or a specific company at all. And again, for the diagnosis or treatment of disease, please refer to a certified health professional, preferably somebody that understands the ketogenic diet. But today we're on day 2 of the 12 days of keto. And this kind of goes like the 12 days of Christmas, but it's the New Year's, with everybody's New Year's resolution, meaning the keto revolution. Well, on the second day of keto, a true friend shared with me blood sugar balance and weight loss that everyone could see. Blood sugar balance. Well, folks, in our day and age, there's a lot of people that have blood sugar imbalances. I mean, think of all the people you know. Do you know anybody with a blood sugar imbalance? And how can you tell? Again, we're going to avoid the name of the diseases intentionally, but let's look at some of the signs. See, some of the signs can be feeling tired a lot, running out of energy. If you feel like it's easier to gain weight than it is to lose weight. And folks, that was one, let me tell you, I remember committing to lose weight with my wife and jogging 30 minutes a day for a month. And in 1 weekend, undoing an entire month's worth of jogging. And I was so discouraged and so depressed. But folks, I don't know if you've ever felt like it's easier to gain weight than it is to lose weight, but that could be one of the signs, right? Craving something sweet, right? How about looking for something to eat even when you're full, right? Have you ever been physically full and gone in the refrigerator to see what looks good? And you know what's really bad? When you open the refrigerator, nothing looks good. And you close it, you wait for 10 seconds, you open it up again to see if anything's changed. That's a sign, folks, but there's more to it. Have you ever gotten sleepy after meals or sat down and fallen asleep when you got home? You feel sad or sometimes irritable. You know, in Utah, I've got friends that talk about being hangry, where you're hungry and a little bit angry. It's hangry. It's that irritability, right? Or brain fog, a lack of concentration, increased thirst or urination, okay? Folks, these are all signs of a blood sugar imbalance. And I turn to some of this research that's available on the internet that you can see in a myriad of medical journals. But we're going to start here with some here from the On It Academy. And it talks about blood sugar ups and downs. And it says, why are people tired all the time when you get plenty to eat? The problem is they don't get their energy from the right foods. When you follow a carbohydrate-based diet, your blood sugar rises and falls sharply with every meal. When it goes down, so does your energy. This is the crash you feel shortly after lunchtime that makes you want to fall asleep at work in the afternoon. And that was just published in October of this year, of this last year. And what we're talking about really here, another way to talk about it without saying disease names, is the glycemic roller coaster. Rapid rises and declines in blood sugar can result in, and if you look at that, when it's too high, inflammation, weight gain, and thirst. When it's too low, folks, look at what happens when it's too low. You have low blood sugar, intense hunger, fatigue, mental fog, or irritability. Those are, again, some of the signs. And here's the beautiful thing. And again, this is from the On It Academy, but they say keto balances blood sugar by reducing the amount of carbs you eat and replacing them with healthy sources of fat. And understand, healthy sources, that's not things like oxidized oil or trans fatty acid. We're talking good fats. With replacing them with healthy sources of fat, you can stabilize blood sugar and enjoy steady energy and greater mental focus all day. Folks, I want to turn to some of these groups, and there's actually a few of them in Europe that are very, very effective at teaching us about the ketogenic diet. And I want to look at this blood glucose support. And this is from diabetes.co.uk, which is the global diabetes community. And again, I know it's the name of a disease, but we're going to just talk about blood sugar support, not about the name of a disease. But let's look at what they said, because they look at blood glucose support, and they say ketogenic diets are very effective at achieving two common aims of blood sugar. You know, they used a different word in there, but we're just going to call it blood sugar control by lowering glucose levels and reducing weight. And Folks, one of the things that I love about this is they actually were very, very good at explaining how a ketogenic diet works. See, on a ketogenic diet, blood glucose levels are kept at a low but healthy level, which encourages the body to break down fat into a fuel source known as ketones, low carbohydrates. And by doing that, our body starts to break down fat into ketones. That's why it's called a ketogenic, the creation of ketones. And here's the beautiful thing. When we talk about this, I should explain it this way. Ketogenic diet or ketosis is something that's natural for every single person. The way the good Lord made our bodies, right? There are times of feast, if you would, when our body's really good at grabbing energy and storing energy. And there traditionally were times of famine, whether it was in the winter when the harvest was low, or maybe you'd run out of some of the store food, or maybe times when it didn't rain much and you really had a famine. Well, our body is adapted switching gears then. And when you don't have 3 square meals a day, you focus on ketosis, or you function in ketosis. Lions eat once every 3 days because they're in ketosis. And here's what happens when you're on ketones, right? Keto helps to lower the body's demand for insulin, because when you're on a ketogenic diet, people on insulin will typically require smaller doses of insulin, which leads to less risk of large dosing errors. This is something that's a big deal. You have one mechanism that's blood sugar that requires insulin, and you have another mechanism that's ketones, and it doesn't require insulin, and you get to use both. And ideally, when you're in the ketones, right, the dependence on blood sugar is much, much less, and that's why it's such a wonderful thing. Now, folks, I want to turn now to 3 articles. There's actually literally over 2,000 articles on PubMed.gov on the ketogenic diet. But we're going to turn to 3 today that talk specifically about blood sugar support. And I have gone ahead and printed off a screenshot of this, if you can see it. And this is one where, again, we're not going to talk about the name of any diseases, but I do want to talk about this first one. I've actually printed off some of these quotes out of this article, and you can find it PubMed.gov article 1618637. PubMed.gov article 1618637. And this was a pilot trial. Now, a pilot trial means they were doing this as the first time, one of the first research. In fact, if you looked up ketogenic diet and glycemic support, right, this is one where I found 59 articles. And one of the very first ones was in December of 2005. Folks, that's over 12 years ago. And here's what they said. It was a pilot study. And they did a 16-week trial and ended up with 21 participants who completed the study. But they say we provided LCKD, now that's low carbohydrate ketogenic diet counseling, with an initial goal of less than 20 grams of carbs a day. Participants returned every other week for measurements, counseling, and blood sugar medication adjustment. Now, if they were on medication, they were actually looking at this for blood sugar support. The primary outcome was hemoglobin A1C, and this was from the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism, again in December 2005, and it's printed in PubMed. Well, what did they find after 16 weeks, folks? This was amazing. Here's what they found. A hemoglobin A1C, and some people know what that is, but that's kind of the measure of the amount of glycogen or carbs that are stored in your muscles. And that went down from 7.5 on an average to 6.3 in 16 weeks, which is an incredible decrease, folks. That's something they got very excited about. And in fact, here's what they said when they reviewed this study. The low carbohydrate ketogenic diet improved glycemic control such that blood sugar medications were discontinued or reduced in most participants. Now, I like this because they actually tell you how many. Remember, they started with 21. Well, of those 21, they had to discontinue medication in 7 of them. And they reduced it in 10 of them, and it was unchanged in 4. Folks, understand, you look at those numbers, right? That's 2/3 of them. But if you thought that was good, the research gets even better. Now, again, this was the first pilot study, and I do want to mention something that they mentioned there on the study. And they said this: because the low carbohydrate ketogenic diet can be very effective at lowering blood glucose, patients on medication who use this diet should be under close medical supervision or, and look at this, capable of adjusting their medication. Folks, when your body gets healthier, you're not going to need as much education as when it was sick. Okay, so hopefully you understand that principle, and there needs to be adjustment when we get blood sugar under control if you're on medication. But it doesn't matter if you're on medication or not when it comes to so many of the other benefits of the ketogenic diet. Just understand, if you are, you do need to monitor that. I want to go on to the next one, because the same journal then actually a couple of years later, featured another article. And this is one where they talk about the effect of a low carbohydrate ketogenic diet versus a low glycemic index diet on glycemic control. And this is one that I get excited about. It's actually now over right now 9 years old. It was in 2008, published December 2008. But this was a randomized study. Now, a randomized study means they don't know who's going to be in the control group, who's going to be in the ketogenic group, right? And they did two groups. They did one group was on low glycemic, and that's what they said. That's supposed to be the best diet for blood sugar support, we thought, until we have this new mechanism called ketosis, right? And so they compared it, low glycemic versus the ketogenic diet. And here's what they say, okay? On a study of 49 volunteers with weight and blood sugar issues on a ketogenic diet, improvements included hemoglobin A1C, fasting glucose, fasting insulin, weight loss, high density lipoprotein cholesterol, okay? And again, the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism, December 2008. And this is one, it has a PubMed.gov article, and this is the U.S. National Medical Library, where it indexes so many research in the medical journals, 190-99589. Well, let's look at what they said here after they started this. And here's what they said. Blood sugar medications, we intentionally avoided the name of any disease there, but blood sugar medications were reduced or eliminated 95.2% of low carbohydrate diet, ketogenic diet versus 62% of low glycemic index diet participants. 95% versus 62%. If you had to choose which one of those that you'd like to do for blood sugar support, which would you choose? Something where 95.2% of the participants were getting results, or something where 62% were? And we're going to see in other studies that actually people on the ketogenic diet, they not only got better results, they stayed with the diet better. Again, just absolutely fabulous information. But here's what they gave as the conclusion. And the conclusion blew me away. And again, if you want to, you can go and look this up, and you can print this up yourself, because they actually have this. If you look at it, like you see here, they actually give a free article. You can actually print this one up for yourself. But here's the conclusion that absolutely blew me away. The conclusion said, lifestyle modification using low carbohydrate intervention, the ketogenic diet, is effective for improving and reversing blood sugar imbalances. And again, we're using blood sugar imbalances to keep it in generic. We're trying to avoid the name of diseases, but you understand what we're saying. Amazing results. And this is over 9 years old. Why aren't we hearing about it? Why aren't they shouting this from the rooftops? Folks, there's even more. And this one, I love this study that actually came out less than a year ago. This is one where they talk about an online intervention with a very low carbohydrate ketogenic diet and lifestyle recommendations versus what's called the plate method. And the plate method is actually something that is used by the American Diabetes Association. But let's look at what this study was intended to do. Now, it's an online intervention study, and this is one I get excited about, because this is what they say. The same group, now this is from the Journal of Medical Internet Research, in February of just this last year, less than a year old. But it says blood sugar imbalances, and again, we're avoiding, that's in brackets there, because we're avoiding the name of diseases, are a prevalent chronic condition for which diet is an integral aspect of support. In our previous trial, we found that recommendations to follow a very low carbohydrate ketogenic diet and to change lifestyle factors, physical activity, sleep, positive affect, mindfulness, helped overweight people with blood sugar imbalances improve glycemic control and lose weight. This was an in-person intervention, which could be a barrier for people without the time, flexibility, transportation, social support, and or financial resources to attend. You had to be there for all of this research they had done previously. But this is one I get excited about, because they said, well, can we help people even if they're not physically there to visit with a doctor, to visit with a treatment specialist? If they're not there on the study, can they still help people with just education? Online intervention. Look at this objective. The objective was to determine whether an online intervention based on our previous recommendations, a very low carbohydrate ketogenic diet with lifestyle factors, which we're going to call intervention, right? That's what they're going to do. Or an online diet program based on the American Diabetes Association, Create Your Plate diet. Now that's the control. So it's the intervention versus control, would improve glycemic control and other health outcomes among overweight individuals with blood sugar imbalance, okay? Journal of of Medical Internet Research, February 2017. Well, let's look at the results, because I love this. They said, we are going to try to educate people. We're going to try to take this to the people. And let's look at the results of this 32 weeks, okay? At 32 weeks, more than half of the participants in the intervention, that's the ketogenic group, lowered their HbA1c, that's the hemoglobin A1c, to less than 6.5% versus 0% in the control group. Look at those numbers again. 55% got under that magic mark, on your A1C, 6.5%, 55%, and in the control group, 0%. Now, if you had your choice between 0% effective and 55% effective, getting this wonderful benchmark, which would you choose? But folks, it gets better than that, because the participant in the intervention, the ketogenic group, lost more weight. They averaged 12.7 kilograms. Now, if you don't know how much that turns out to be, that's about the equivalent of about 28 pounds, with a range of minus 16.1 to minus 9.2. Then participants in the control group. Now, the average in the control group, that's the plate method, was 3.0 kilograms, and their range was 7.3 to 1.3 kilograms gained. Okay, understand this. When you look at the control versus the ketogenic, the best results on the control was worse than the worst results on the ketogenic. Just look at those numbers. This is something that we ought to get excited about. And a greater percentage of the participants lost at least 5% of their body weight. We already talked about on that on day one. Okay, 90%, 10 out of 11, versus the control group was only 29%, 2 out of 8. And here's the thing I was mentioning before, dropout rate. Dropout rate. Can people continue on this? With the ketogenic diet, it was 8%. Out of 12 people, only 1 dropped out, versus 46%, 13 out of 13 people on the plate method, okay, on the control group, 6 of them couldn't continue, 46%, nearly half of them dropped out. How would it be if you could do it easier, if you could stay on better? Folks, there is so much incredible information on this. And if you want to feel better, you want to help other people feel better, not be as tired, have better mental clarity, all of the things that go with those incredible blood sugar support benefits, folks. That's what we're saying. Remember all of these signs that we talked about here? If you want to do anything to improve those signs, well, what do they say? The ketogenic diet is a fantastic way for blood sugar support. Now, as of January 1st, 2000, and that should be 2018, January 1st, 2018, this year, as of just one day ago, there were 128 articles on PubMed.gov. And I want you to just look at some of these. The Journal of Nutrition, October 2012, Journal of Nutrition and Diabetes, September 2016, Journal of Nutrition and Diabetes, December 2017. They even did 12-month outcomes. And these are some, if you want to look at them up on PubMed.gov, look for PubMed.gov article 2267394, PubMed.gov article 276-43725, PubMed.gov article 292-69731. Folks, there's so many amazing things, but this is just day 2 of the 12 days of keto. So stay tuned for even more benefits of the ketogenic diet, including brain support, hormonal support, digestive support, increased muscle tone, immune support, and even tips on effective keto. Again, 2,180 articles in medical journals as of January 1st. 2018, as of yesterday. Folks, it's all about making a difference in the lives of others, right? When we say the ketogenic diet meets the New Year's resolution, folks, we need your help. This is what we're asking for. Folks, help us make a difference. Help us change lives with the keto revolution. Because in the end, folks, it's all about making a difference in the lives of other people. Thank you so much for being on with us today. And everybody have a blessed day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.